away an NFT tonight. So if you would like to win that, all you got to do is head to the Bread Brothers, give us a follow, retweet this space, and tag 3 friends, and you could win. We are going to announce the winner at the end of this space. So make sure you stay tuned in for the entire space. Alrighty, boss of Bali. My man, you've been super popular already. Everybody wants to ask you questions and find out how they can get their life started in Bali. I just want to say, first of all, I know you're a very busy man. I know you've got a lot on your plate. You've got your business. You've got multiple businesses and things that you're working on at the moment. So thank you for coming onto our space tonight. Before we get stuck into your project that you're working on at the moment in Web3, which is Bridgeverse, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your entrepreneurial background? What is it? I think people have a little bit of an understanding of what you do for a living, but if you could tell us about that and how you got to doing that, and and how you ended up wandering into this magical world of Web3.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks once again for having me on. Really appreciate it. Where do I start? So yeah, I've been working for a luxury travel company in Australia for the last 10 years. My job was to go and contract hotels, promote those hotels in Bali in Australia through TV show, newspaper, social media, etc. So we're a big room night provider to Bali hotels. So they love us, they value us. We bring them a lot of business. So whenever I was going over to Bali, I was never had the time to sort of take those awesome photos like you see these creators and influencers taking and creating this awesome content. I was always back to back breakfast, lunch, dinner, morning tea, afternoon tea meetings, and pretty much no time. So I thought, why don't I create a page and inspire people to travel to Bali and celebrate the luxury of Bali? So I created this page called The Boss of Bali, and really during COVID, I was like, we couldn't travel to Bali, so what could I do? So I really started to DMing people and building these relationships with normal people, but also celebrities, mainly in America. So I would reach out to them, say, "Hey, look, my name's Jason. Love what you're doing. If you ever decide to come to Bali, please let me know. Would love to host you. Keep up the great work. All the best. Add value. Expect nothing in return." And they would reply and go, "Oh wow, that's awesome. I'd love to come to Bali. It's like an aspirational place, a 30-hour flight. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much. It's really kind of you." And just build this friendship. And I did that over and over and over again every day, just building connections, networking, and DMing people. And I've met some of the most awesome people. Never met in person, but always DM'd and had Zooms, etc. So really did that and was able to leverage my brand and cross pollinate with their IG pages as well, and really help grow and network and build all these connections. So that's sort of how the Boss of Bali sort of transformed. It was never to monetize the page. The page was just to celebrate the luxury of Bali, inspire people to travel there, and then it's just turned into something that's pretty cool. And I've been able to use it to sort of as my CV, sort of instead of my LinkedIn, I show people my IG, and that's been able to open up all these doors to different opportunities. So, and that's where the big opportunities come. So it's been really exciting, and it's been an awesome journey so far. And it's sort of led me to now where I'm in the process of building some super luxury villas in Bali, which I never thought I'd ever do, but that's sort of the path it's taken me on. And yeah, they'll be all built in March this year, so I'm really excited about that venture. Always want to get in real estate, but this is sort of how it's sort of gone, and that's really exciting. That's why I'm looking at moving over and stuff like that. So that's sort of how I got into the social media, Instagram marketing. And then I've came across when COVID hit. Also, I had to pivot. So because we weren't traveling, so work wasn't happening. It was either keep on doing paperwork and admin and account management for 2 years, or find something else. So I took 6 months off, and in doing that, I also educate myself in that space and the Web3 NFT space as they evolved. Advised on some projects, and then came across a guy called Brian Walker, who's the founder of Bridgeverse. Bridgeverse, if you think about it, is like, think of Epic Games, but in the Web3 world. So we're a gaming and animation studio where we're built on Unreal Engine 5. And not only are you going to be able to use your own avatar in the titles that we build, but we have this AI technology where you're going to be able to turn your 2D character into a 3D character in seconds. So working on that, we also have a animation studio as well. So we've just signed a deal with HBO and Netflix worth $20 to $35 million each, where we're building 8 30-minute episodes for them over the next 12 months, because these studios, they want content badly. They desperately need content. And a bit of background about Brian. Brian was a film director on Avatar with James Cameron. So I don't know if you remember Avatar when it came out. It was really a movie that was ahead of its time. People watching it go, holy shit, this is like the best thing ever type of thing. And so he pioneered that motion capture 3D space and worked on Mandalorian, Lion King, Marvel, etc., and built up a really good reputation there. So when we were building Bridgeverse, it was like, well, we're building the game side. We've got engineers from Epic Games, etc., working with us, but we also need an animation team to build the videos, do the marketing, etc. So we thought his awesome contacts. We built the animation studio as well. So it's also given us that platform to create additional revenue from the animation studio as well as the gaming studio. But what really attracted me, like I met Brian through Twitter Spaces, almost 12 months ago. What attracted me to Bridgeverse was they're building technology to solve problems in the Web3 space, but they're innovating. They're not just copy and pasting something. They're really trying to innovate the space. And I believe the innovators are the ones who are going to win at the end. But most importantly, you can have a good idea, but you also need to have the right team behind you. So in Bridgeverse, we have Michael Turpin, which he helped launch Ethereum ICO with Vitalik. He's a equity partner in Bridgeverse. We also have Zuba, which is the law firm there, and equity partner in Bridgeverse, and they're one of the top legal firms in the US. So really trying to, assemble a really good team of people who are experts in their field to really take this project to the next level. And in doing that, we're in our seed round now, actually closes next week, where we've raised, be close to like $10 million for our seed round, which is really exciting. And we have our Series A round next month, and then B round next year, where we've already got, commitments of lots, a lot of funding. So it's really, really exciting to be a part of that and having those conversations with some big VC funds, hedge funds, and who really believe in what we're doing. So it's been a real eye opener in the last sort of 12 months, really, because this is a very new space for everyone. So it's all about navigating and pivoting, and things don't always work as go according to plan, and it's about finding what works, what doesn't, and pivoting, and a lot of hours, a lot of phone calls, like all you guys are doing. You're working on projects, you're working 20 hours a day. It's a lot of hours, and it's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't actually see. And so yeah, it's really, really exciting. Great to be a part of that project as a partner, and yeah, with lots of exciting stuff happening. We've just signed a deal with 3 of the top gaming organizations in the world that will be playing our tournaments, playing our Bridgeverse titles, which is going to bring exposure and gamers to our titles over the next 12 months. So we've got all these different strategies and these partnerships in place, um, and we have a team of around 145 people, mainly contractors, senior engineers from amazing gaming studios around the world, and just trying to build the right team and innovate and see where this journey takes us.
Wow, man, that's super impressive. Jason, I remember you and I having this conversation probably like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. And I'm like, I was blown away. And that's why I wanted everyone to hear about this, because I don't want people to miss out this opportunity that's about to come about. Some things that I wanted to touch base on. I think what you said there about networking is very important. And you're a true believer of that. You just don't know who you're going to meet in this space. So I really look up to you in that aspect, because you're the type of person who just keeps building, but also keep networking, because networking in this space is very important. Jason, I wanted to quickly highlight just a thing. Is there a token coming out for Bridgeverse? Is there going to be a token associated to Bridgeverse?
Yeah, very good question. So yes, there is. So basically, the token's going to power the whole Bridgeverse ecosystem. So when the token launches, basically it'll launch on Binance, Coinbase, etc. And when it launches, in order to buy the battle, basically the strategy is we bring all these gamers through these leading gaming organizations to come and play our game, playing our $1 million tournaments, get everyone playing the game and creating that habit where they just keep on playing Bridgeverse games. And then when we bring out the play to earn, basically in order to get the battle pass, etc., you're going to have to buy the Bridgeverse token and pay and purchase a battle pass with that. Skins, etc., all the in-game assets marketplace will be powered by this Bridgeverse token. So that's another part of the ecosystem.
That's amazing. And my final question to you is, and then I'll pass it on to Trish. I think she has a question for you too. So, how did you meet these guys called Brian Walker, Michael Turpin? Was it on the beach, or were you guys at the resort at the same time and say, "Hey, I'm into NFT. Are you into NFT?"
Yeah, great question. So I met Brian on Twitter, in Twitter Spaces. I heard him talk. He's been in the NFT space for a while now. He's actually a artifact degen. He's had many he's done very well with artifact and other projects, and just met him through Twitter Spaces. This is the thing, like people talk about followers and stuff like that. Yeah, it's all great, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the value that you provide. When I met Brian, he had no followers, and I heard him on Twitter, and I'm going, "Who the fuck is this guy? This guy's one of the smartest guys I've listened to." And we just became good mates, and obviously bought into the vision of what he's building, and and we hit it off really well. So, I met him, and then through networking, we met Brian and I met Michael Turpin through another acquaintance at NFT LA, and then we discussed obviously him coming on board as a partner and advising us. And Michael's been incredible, as you know, Michael as well. He has opened up so many doors for us. It's just, and this is the thing, it's all about, you can go and do that grind and that hard work to try to find the right people, but it's all about who you know. Like if you can find the person that knows these people, and it's all about connecting the dots, right? And networking and getting the right people involved and finding those people in the most effective amount of time in the best way, rather than cold calling and doing this. It's such a smarter way to work. So we're fortunate enough to meet Michael, and he's been great for the project, and he'll be doing a lot of work with us when it comes to the raises for Series A and B as well.
That's so true, man. I appreciate that. It's so true. When you meet one person in space, they can basically open the doors for you. And hats off to Toast Punks. He's probably been that person for us. So we absolutely love you, Toast Punks. Thank you so much for your support. Trish, going to you.
Yeah, hi Jason. Look, it's absolutely lovely to have you here tonight. just quickly before I get into the question, once I know my itinerary for Bali, is there any chance of getting a hookup with your driver offer that you mentioned earlier for when I am in Bali? It'd be fantastic to get access to that. But um,
100%. 100%.
awesome. But I do have a question, it's a little bit of a pivot. We have seen a few projects now that have come through that are offering NFTs as a means of a luxury real estate and hotel investment. As you do have a background in luxury accommodation and NFTs, is this something that you would ever consider or possibly plan to do?
Excellent question. I've seen a few projects do that. I'm actually building 4 luxury villas at the moment in Canggu in Bali. They'll be ready in March next year, and I've been just trying to contemplate the way that is that a play at the moment via an NFT um, or not. Um, I think it's going to happen in the future, 100%, and it will become mainstream and etc. But it's just a matter of when. Um, for the villas that I'm selling, for example, I think it's better that I would find an investor to spend X amount of dollars and do it that way rather than through an NFT. However, I see there's huge potential in doing it, and it's just brainstorming the structure of how that would work. Um, but definitely on the cards for people to do. It's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. So it's just a matter of the market that you're trying to attract and who's savvy in the space. So just trying to find those. If I'm selling a property for a couple $1,000,000, I have to find you want to try to find people that are savvy in the NFT space as well, that would understand it a lot more, um, rather than someone who sort of doesn't know what an NFT is still and sort of trying to explain it to them. It's a bit of a harder sell. It's adding another layer to the sales process. Um, so I think it's a great idea. I think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of timing.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. At the moment, if you're selling the luxury villas, it's much easier for you to find individual multi-million dollar buyers than it is to split that up into segmented NFT offerings and try to sell that on the market at the moment. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think why it's a good idea is because you can get X amount of people will get you fractionalize it. People can get X amount of nights a year to stay for free. There's all these different ways you can cut the cake and make it really attractive and really cool. It just depends on the sort of structure of how you. For this particular project that I'm working on, I would rather have 4 individual owners, and who are just like, Jason, you manage it. I don't want to know anything about it. I just want to know that I can stay here 2 weeks a year for free, and I've got a great place in Bali to bring friends to, etc. So that's my type of like ideal investor. But I think, yeah, it's definitely going to happen, and if it's going to happen, it's going to happen in Bali because there's the Web3 community in Bali is just growing every day, um, and as these digital nomads get more and more, come to Bali more often, it's going to be huge in the next 2 years. It's only going to get bigger, and the opportunity will be there.
I think Jason, Angie just put her hand up to buy one. But yeah,
I was going to say Primates had his hand up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
buying two. He's buying
He's
two.
buying two. So whoever has their hands up means they're buying one. Primates, what are you going to say, my man?
Jace, how's it going? First of all, are you sure you're not Darren Lockyer? Because it sounds like you're Darren Lockyer secretly.
Can I tell you, Darren Lockyer is a big idol of I'm a big fan of Darren Lockyer. I'm a Broncos supporter since 1988.
There you go.
So
you sound like the man, the
that,
myth, the legend.
Hey, and it's something that we've always spoken about, boss. And guess who's still there?
Parramatta Eels.
I know.
But do you know what? Sorry, just off topic. We're talking footy. We're talking rugby league.
Cone of silence, yes.
Yeah, so I actually played golf on Monday with Latrell Mitchell, Sam Burgess, and Lockie Ellis, the halfback for the Bunnies.
Yep.
So yeah, it was really interesting meeting them, and really nice guys. And so South is actually my second team now. I've jumped on that bandwagon.
Oh, there's the problem. There's a problem. But anyway, Jason,
Anyway,
my question was, how do you find when it comes to networking, do you find networking in person works better in your favor, meeting people face-to-face, networking that style? Or do you find networking over DMs and talking to people online? What's the better process, and what do you think gets a better outcome?
Yeah, great question. DMing has been very, very effective for me over the past 3 or 4 years, especially. So I've been able to leverage my profile, add value to the person, and get that cut through to most people, not everyone, but most people. And then what I really find works well is leaving voice notes. So what happens is if you can get your voice across to that person, you're really conveying that message, and they hear, they go, okay, this guy sounds genuine. I'm going to talk to them further or engage further. That is a great way to start. And then obviously meeting in person, you can't beat face to face, right? If you're trying to cut a deal, face to face is always the best way. But DMs is very, very powerful, and Twitter Spaces is awesome. I'm a massive advocate for Twitter Spaces because you can get your voice across and meet all these people, and you feel like you've known everyone in this space for like years, right? When you're talking to them every night. So, but then you meet in person at a conference. It's like, oh wow, we know each other already. It was really bizarre because
your best mate for 10 years.
One of my partners, Ian Mike, on Twitter, we've been like business partners for like 3 years on different projects, and we had never met in person until this year in Hawaii, where Brian was going to be in Hawaii, Mike was going to be in Hawaii on family trips. It's like, fuck guys, I'm going to come over so we can all actually meet in person because we're all partners pretty much. So it's like, so it was really bizarre. It's sort of like so many Zooms, so many WhatsApp calls, and hours and hours, but you never actually physically meet. So it's answer your question, both are awesome. But getting your voice across, and what you'll find is when most people send DMs, 9 out of 10 won't send a voice note. And if you can send that voice note, it's sort of, the other person goes, okay, cool, wow, this guy, number one, that's different. Number two, I can hear what he or she sounds like. So
yeah, nice one, Jace. Thanks for that, mate. That's some really good advice, and especially for other people down there listening as well, for trying to start out projects and trying to contact in this space. It's a really good idea with those voice messages, that's for sure.
Thanks for that, Prime Mates. I think, Angie, you had a question, and then we'll go to Max Strategies.
I did. Do you know, is it pronounced Gilly Getty Island?
Gili Islands,
Yeah.
Gili Mino, Gili Islands, yep.
Gilly Getty, Gede.
Gede. No, you've given me a mental blank. I'm going to have to Google.
It says is one of the most secluded islands around Lombok.
So funny you say that because I just went to Lombok.
Okay.
Because I was looking at buying some land there because there's a lot of stuff happening over there.
Okay.
The MotoGP and stuff like that. But
oh, is it? Okay. No,
yeah.
I just wondered if you knew where that was or if there was much.
I haven't been there, so there's so much, and I must tell you, like, there's so much to Bali I still haven't seen as well. It's like Bali's this. Whenever I've been there, 100 plus times, and whenever I'm over there, it's like I'm always seeing the luxury hotels in the same spots, right? So it's like I don't have. There's some places that I haven't even been before, and there's so much to see. It's like it's especially the islands too, like Komodo's, pretty amazing, and yeah.
I've actually, I mean, I've said before I've never been there, and would have to, but yeah, I just heard a little bit of stuff maybe happening around that, and I wanted to ask questions. I won't ask here, but I'll I'll DM you
Yeah,
and ask some
DM me.
questions
Yeah,
about that.
there's heaps of stuff happening on the other islands. It's people, because the land in Bali's gone, it's super expensive now. So people are trying to look for the next new Bali. That's what
Yes.
they're speculating
Mhm.
on and trying to work out. And it's all about doing the due diligence and trying to see when is it going to pop off. Like I'm looking at Lombok now, but I
Okay.
really think Lombok is like 5 to 10 years away before it
Okay.
really sort of explodes. But you know, if it does, like that's the sort of time frame for me. But yeah, who
Okay.
knows?
All
It's
right.
all
Yeah. No.
speculative.
I had a few questions about something, you know, like around that area or people building on that area, and I had thought many times to get in touch with you and ask you because I thought, well, you're the boss, so you would know. You're the
send
boss
me
of
DM.
all of
No,
Bali,
right.
but yeah, I thought, you know, who better? Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
Thanks for that, Angie. Go ahead, Max.
Thanks, guys. Jason, you know, I'm noticing that there is this huge conscious awakening happening here in Bali, especially with the whole digital nomad thing happening. I've met some incredible individuals, and a lot of them are working out from villas as well. And then I came across these networking hubs or co-work spaces. In terms of networking, how proficient do you think it is to sort of network in an environment like that? And can do you reckon that most people can get their work done in a space like that, or do you recommend just honing in, coming together with a few like-minded individuals, getting a villa, and then just working on projects in that sort of way?
Yeah, it just depends on the type of person you are. Like if you want to go to these co-working hubs and sort of meet new people, and if you're fairly new to Bali and you want to like build those relationships, that's definitely a great idea. But if you're like working on your own project and you need to be in the zone and you need no distractions, and you've got a few people who are working on that project, maybe you create an office or get a really good villa that has that area where you can all sort of work together, and sort of be away from the distractions, because it can be, it's just like going to the office. Some people love going to the office, some people love working from home, but other people can't work from home, they just go and do other stuff. So it just depends on the type of person you are. But yeah, both are great options.
Well, apart from the whole legislation regarding the digital nomad taxation law that might be implemented in, what do you think is the biggest catalyst as to why people are coming to Bali and creating the network here rather than say a place like?
Yeah. So I spent a couple months in Dubai at the start of the year for the first time I've ever been there, and I went back in August for a week as well. Got a lot of awesome friends over there who have launched amazing businesses, and with Dubai is like Disneyland for entrepreneurs. So it's like there's no red tape. It's easy to start a business. It's very progressive. It's tax free. There's lots of pros of doing business over there. There's cons as well. There's a lot of con men over there as well, and you just got to find the right tribe to sort of network with and hang out with and not get scammed and things like that. So that's like everywhere, but especially over there, it's a bit of a it's a free for all. There's great opportunities. So um, with Bali, it's like Bali was rated, I think, #1 destination in the world last year on TripAdvisor. So it's like it's a lifestyle. What you're finding is it's becoming more westernized. So you'll get all these expat chefs opening amazing restaurants. The development, the property is like the stuff that's coming up now off the plan is like you're walking into a suburb in Sydney or Melbourne. The architects are world class. They're moving to Bali, seeing the opportunity there. The quality that you see of the builds is awesome. So it's attracting all these people who have never been to Bali before or heard in the last few years, oh wow, Bali's such a great place to live. They've now got this digital nomad visa law where you don't have to pay tax over there, and that's going to create a big influx of new types of people coming through. So it's becoming a lot more developed. The infrastructure is still not the best in Bali, but it's definitely an incredible place to, if you like surfing, if you like the tropical weather, if you like beautiful, humble people like the Balinese, and you want to live like a king over there for a fraction of the price.
Bali's the place to live.
That's what Bali is.
Well said.
Beautiful, my man. Bali has been on top of
I
everybody's.
appreciate that, Jason, a lot. I guess I just got one, final question, especially wanting to actually move down here. In terms of healthcare and things like that.
Oh, it's rugging a bit.
He mentioned healthcare and the system rugged him. Let's keep moving along then until Max comes back.
Okay, let's
healthcare.
go to Trish, and then I think we'll have a couple of last questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Go ahead, Trish.
Yeah, hey Jason, I have a very off-topic question related to Bali. I mean, we know that the people of Bali, they did suffer quite a lot when they lost all of their tourism recently. I want to know, how are they really doing?
Yeah, they are super excited now that
Good
people
question.
are coming back. It's been like, it's sort of, you look at like the stock market when it crashes and it just bottoms out for a bear market for how long. That's sort of, I look at Bali as like it hit the rock bottom for the last 2.5 years, and then now it's going to have this biggest bounce that you'll see for the next 2 or 3 years. It's just going to go crazy. So they've suffered like big time, and especially relying so much on tourism, and it's been really sad. But the best part is that most of the people got through it. They survived. If they worked at hotels, a lot of the hotels sort of paid them maybe 50% pay during that time. Some were unfortunate who didn't get any, but most sort of got some type of payment just to scrape by.
Like a
But
reimbursement.
now I think the flight capacity is about 45% of what it was pre-COVID. So there's a lot of people coming back now, and a lot of people that have never been to Bali are going to Bali for the first time. So, which is really exciting. I just had the Nelk Boys over in Bali. I don't know if I'm sure some of you know who the Nelk Boys are. Massive podcast. They have Full Send. They interview like Elon and had Andrew Tate on, and a few, or whoever's
Bored Ape Yacht
the
Club.
flavor of the month, they pretty much have on their podcast. So they were in Bali for the first time. So all these people haven't even haven't been able to travel for years of going, what, let's go to Bali. We always want to go there, so let's do that.
Yeah.
So
And just quickly following up that question, when I do head over there, I'm only going to be over there for a week, but what would be the best way that I personally could make a difference? What would make a difference to them, to the locals and the community over there?
yeah, there's a whole bunch of different charities that you can go and visit the villages with them and spend like a morning with them, and they go deliver. Like when I'm over there, I generally go and spend a day going to deliver like grocery packages for people in need or disabled families or etc. So there's a lot of that you can actually do and physically do it yourself with them. So you know that your money's going to the right place and things like that. So there's a whole bunch of different ways. That's one way I like to give back. There's all different other ways as well, different charities and that. And also you're seeing people on the street. Obviously it's just depends on what there's so many awesome ways to give back over there and help them out. So but yeah, the registered charities are a really good way to sort of go there and see how they actually live. And it's good. It's humbling, and it's good to sort of it makes you appreciate what you have and how lucky we are.
No, I love that idea. I love that idea. I'd love to know which charities, yeah, to head to do that for a morning or
Yeah,
two while I'm over there.
absolutely, absolutely. That'd be awesome. Happy to help.
Thank you so much for that, Trish. Now, boss, I'm gonna bridge the conversation back to Bridgeverse, and before we wrap up this interview, and thanks for being such an amazing sport and answering all the questions. We've got a lot of people very curious about the lifestyle over there, and you are, after all, the boss, the one and only boss of Bali. Um, but yeah, just bridging this conversation back to Bridgeverse. I want to know now. We know that you are creating a somewhat revolutionary platform for animation and gaming, and you've already got a number of titles, of games that are in the space. We've already heard that you're working with an amazing team over there. Really the who's who of of Lucasfilms, Disney. You've got people from, yeah, as you mentioned, Avatar, the movie. You got a lot of Hollywood names and all that sort of thing that are involved in this project. What are the next steps of the project? And if we wanted to get in and we wanted to invest, now I know this is for pretty much for creating games, creating animations. So there's obviously some links there that you're going to create with different game companies and all that sort of thing. But if we want to get involved and, for example, play some of these games, or if we want to use our avatar or our CloneXs, for example, in your games, how do we get involved? What are the next steps? Is there an NFT? Is there a launch date? What's happening next, my man?
Yeah, great question. So the next steps for us is closing out our seed round, which is next week, which is awesome. So that's done, and then we shift our focus to launching the games. Our first two games will be available in the next couple of months, and then when that happens, or before that, we'll be announcing these gaming organizations that are partnering with us, because they're going to bring a lot of their gamers to come and play our games. And there'll be tournaments that we'll be running as well monthly, where the Twitter family and anyone can enter these tournaments as well, where you'll be able to play for NFTs, you'll be able to play for ETH, you'll be able to play for, there'll be $1 million first prize as well. So lots of different tournaments coming up over the next sort of 12 months. And the goal and the strategy is to get as many people playing these titles as possible. So